Hello everyone and welcome back to TTTV. You're watching TTL F1 round number 2, which takes us to the Bahrain Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box on this fine Thursday evening is Andy Campbell. Andy, how are you this evening?
I'm very well, my friend. Thank you very much. Good to be back. The dream team once again on a Thursday night. Back one more time. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been in the box together, so looking forward to it. And obviously, after the start on Tuesday night, brand new season of TTL F1 as well. So plenty to get our teeth stuck into season 12. So I'm looking forward to it very much indeed.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to joining you again. Oh, the dream team. What a compliment that is from Andy. Uh, but we'll see how round 2 unfolds then as we look at the results last time out. Well, Squeezy actually started off on the front foot, winning last time out in Australia. He's at the top of the table with a full 25 points. Blizzard is in second in the standings. Jay finished third last time out. Siege in fourth. Steph fifth, setting the bar very high early on. Clifford in sixth. Alan Kay making his return last time out, finished in seventh place. Sean in eighth place, which is a good result for him. Plaster picking up 2 points, and Damien with the last point. And what that means for the constructors, if I can find them, is Force India are leading the way by just 1 point ahead of McLaren on 25. Then it's Ferrari on 17 points. Williams in fourth place on 16. Mercedes in fifth on 11 points. Sauber are in sixth on 6 points. And that means Red Bull, Haas, Toro Rosso and Renault are yet to score a point this season. However, it's only the first round, so nothing to panic about just yet, Andy.
No, definitely not just yet. Obviously, 20 rounds still to go, including the one we're about to see tonight, obviously. So, a long, long way to go. There's still going to be plenty of action, frills and spills to take us through Tuesday and Thursday evenings. So, not quite panic stations yet, but you always want to get off to as good a start as possible. It puts you on the front foot for the rest of the season. And obviously, last season's champion Lambo, no points, if I remember correctly, from round 1. So, the defending champion on the bit of the back foot, but still got plenty of rounds to go to make it back up, and I would expect to see him do that very soon. We've got the medium tyre, the soft tyre and the super soft tyre here in Bahrain, so it's going to make strategy very interesting indeed. Obviously it's a night race, one of the 2 night races along with Singapore later on in the season, and obviously in the desert in the middle of nowhere as well too, so tyre temperatures can sometimes be an issue depending on the temperature kicking about here. So it's going to be interesting to see what tyre strategies go about, especially here in qualifying, if someone thinks they can sneak into the top 10 on one of those harder compound tyres.
Absolutely, and we're looking at Squeezy, who won last time out. Evening to Spike in the chat there. He's saying hoping to make it further than turn 2 tonight. And Mays, our weather reporter, is saying drive for qualifying and drive for the race, Andy. No threat of rain for round 2 of a brand new season.
Yeah, I'd be quite surprised to see rain here in the middle of the desert, but then again, we've seen a sprinkle and a showers in Abu Dhabi for the real season finale a couple of weeks ago, so things can happen, obviously. But yeah, Squeezy looks like he's going to be the first one to set a lap time. Third in the championship he finished last season, but victory last time out on Tuesday in Melbourne, giving him the best start to the season. Hard to distinguish his helmet in that orange car. It's just basically all moulding into one there. So it looks like he's almost, apart from the visor, you probably can't tell the difference between the car and the driver there. It's ridiculous.
Well, Squeezy sported that lid towards the end of last season just to match the papaya orange of the McLaren. He has stayed with McLaren this season, and as he rounds the final corner, we're going to pick out someone other than Squeezy to go onto a flying lap. Andy, your favourite part of it. Let's look at Jay then, who was third last time out. Andy, let's take us on a lap. Take it away.
Yeah, so I've got Jay here as well. So coming down the front straight, one of the 2 DRS zones around this circuit, building up to well over 200 miles an hour, nearly hitting 210. Around about 100 metres for the braking point into turn 1. Jay's completely missed the apex there, but you can just about get away with it. Short shifting up through 3rd and 4th, through turns 2 and 3, and then a long back straight up here into turn 4. This is a bit of an overtaking point. It's a very wide corner on exit, very easy to get the power down quickly, and then this lovely flowing section down the hill through turns 6 and 7, and then into turn 8, tricky little hairpin corner here, and then they rise back up the hill a little bit, and this is probably one of the trickiest corners on the entire calendar. Turn 9 and 10, you're braking, you're turning, you're downshifting all at the same time. Very easy to lock up your front wheel there going in through that section onto the second DRS up towards turn 11 now. Jay using all of the curve and right up to the white line there to extend the track for the shallowest entry point possible, so as little steering input as you can. Flat out through the uphill section and down to 4th gear. Very nicely catching a little bit of the apex, a little bit sideways on the exit on the curbing, and then down the back straight one last time into turns 14 and 15, although to me it's just one turn. Catch the curb on the exit, 15's not even a corner as I say, and then back on the power one more time. DRS wide open, and Jay puts it into pole position at 26.3 in the Ferrari. And to give you some context, the pole position lap time this year by Sebastian Vettel was a 1 minute 27.9, so we're already 1.5 seconds quicker with Jay's first lap.
And you've got to think that that's only going to get quicker and quicker as we go through this session, especially with the likes of Poe, with the likes of Blizzard and Lambo, who are all ready to take that pole position away. We've got Alan there on the medium tyres, a 1:30.1. That's not a bad lap time at all on a set of medium tyres as the laps are coming in thick and fast now. Sean there, 1:28.6. Francis, 1:28.9. We've got Poe there, who challenged all the way to the final round of last season, 1:27.1. And we also have Ollie there, 1:30.5, but I don't think that's representative. Season 11 champion on the defence this season, 1:29.8 from him, so well over 2 seconds slower there, but again I don't think that's representative. I think what may happen, especially with some of the top runners, is they might just have one super soft run and back out at the very last moment so that they can set a faster lap on a set of soft tyres, the middle tier tyre, so that they can help with race strategy. As you can see there, Lambo and the Haas there are battling for position as a Red Bull gets involved as well. That's not what we want to see in qualifying, as Lambo trying to get out of the way or try and go down the inside. It's really confusing what's happening between those three, but I think they're going to sort themselves out there.
They are aware the race is 12.5 minutes away, don't they? And they were almost battling that, going all the way off the track there. It's VSR Francis going off the track there in the Red Bull, but yeah, they're pretty much racing already. One thing I've obviously spotted from last season, obviously quite a few drivers in differing cars this season, so we were on board with Jay. He's now in the Ferrari. He was in the Renault last year. Paul was in the Renault last year as well. Just missing out on the championship to Lambo. He's now in a Haas for season 12. Spike still in the same Sauber from last year. The Gort still in the Haas. Plaster still in the second Ferrari. Sean's not moved either. Newcomer TTG Latino has picked up the second McLaren. Ollie P's now moved into the Red Bull. VSR Francis picking up the other Red Bull. Squeezy and Lambo are probably one of two or three drivers that haven't changed cars for the new seasons. We're going to have to get used to everybody in the new machines as well. May's another one moving from the Haas. He's now in the sole Renault here this evening. So still got a little bit of pick up here with some of these drivers moving about. So I got so used to certain drivers being in certain cars towards the tail end of last year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's having to learn everybody and their new cars again. I should just correct you there, Andy, that TTG Lightino is actually Lighty. He's joined up with TTG for the new season, so that's still Lighty, but I don't know, should we call him Lighty or Lightino? I'm going to leave it up to him. Sure. I'll call him Lighty for this round.
For next week, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even realise that, because I was doing one of the cup races and I thought it was a completely new driver. So there you go. Apologies, mate.
No, that familiar yellow and black helmet of Lighty is now in a McLaren. Obviously, he was racing in a Ferrari last season, has decided to basically do a reverse Fernando Alonso of all those years ago, back in 2009 I believe it was, except that was from Renault. It's a Renault engine. Can it get any more complicated than that, eh?
There's a link in there somewhere.
There's a link in there somewhere. I'm just going to let you find it. Ollie there has got himself up into P3, a 1:27.5 on a set of medium tyres. That's impressive. That's a very impressive lap from Ollie.
That's a very good lap time indeed from Ollie and the other Toro Rosso, and I would expect that to be a top 10 time, and that puts him in a really good position for the race if that was to happen. We've still got 10 minutes to go, so someone, well, need to be more than someone, a few drivers might prove me wrong yet. We're still to see lap times from Blizzard, Damien, Mays and Clifford, although Clifford in the Force India is on his outlap coming towards the end of Sector 2 to start his first flying lap. So he's got 14 laps in the book, and it's still Jay with that initial onslaught. 8 temps clear. Poe now in second on the medium tyres as well. So those two, Poe and Ollie, looking pretty decent on the hardest compound so far. But Jay looking pretty. Started to be... Oh!
There goes Poe.
Yep, we've gone on board there as well, seen that. Getting a bit sideways there. I think he was side by side with one of the Red Bulls, I think it was, going up through the hill section, and the back end just swapping ends on him. But Jay's lap time looking pretty good at the moment. It is on the super softs, of course, and towards the end of last season he was starting to show himself as being pretty good in the qualifying, and I just hope for this season that he's managed to get his internet sorted, because that cost him quite a lot of points to the tail end of last year.
Absolutely, and that is one point I didn't think to even acknowledge, is that let's hope that Jay's internet does serve him well. He is a quick driver, he's proven that in multiple qualifying sessions, but time and time again, normally towards the start of the race, his internet has given up on him, so he'll be hoping for less of those issues. Some drivers...
Do you think he went to weak Wi-Fi solutions?
I really hope he went to weakwifi-solutions.com to find himself some sort of aid and fix, which you can too if you're having trouble with that pesky net code and lack of ping. All those advanced technical words, you can find out all those mean on weakwifi-solutions.com. What a plug, Andy. Thank you for that.
No, but I'm just good for these kind of things.
That's all good. Plaster then, P7, 128.0. We've got the Gort there, who is currently on an outlap. He set a 127.8. He's going out on a set of super softs. He set that 27.8 on a set of soft tyres. We've got Clifford there, jumping up all the way to P2 on a set of soft tyres, so good lap time from him. And that really opens up his strategy for the race then. Spike there in P6 at the moment, 127.7, and I believe that is on a set of super soft tyres, so maybe that was just a sighter and a banker lap just to make sure he got some sort of lap on the board. Blizzard here in the Force India. Obviously he was a reserve last season. TTL's most successful driver of all time returns for season number 12 in order to try and get even more trophies in that famous number 4 we've all got familiar with seeing over the past few seasons. He's back and he's second in the championship so far. He'll be looking to add to his illustrious list of race wins here at Bahrain.
Yeah, definitely so. In the Racing Point car, as it is now called, for next season, but it's still Force India for this one, so it's all good. But yeah, as you say, TTL's most successful driver. I think it's 3 Drivers' Championships, 2 Constructors, and a Challenge Cup. I'm trying to find the info somewhere, as I know it got posted the other day. No, he's definitely won quite a few.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is... Yeah, you're absolutely right as he comes towards the line. Then remember, on a set of medium tyres, what can he do? It's a 127.3 and it puts him into P4, so second row of the grid on medium tyres. That's not a bad lap at all. And of course, Andy, we have to sort of ask this question with 6.5 minutes to go. Is qualifying becoming, on especially league racing, a little bit, well, stale? Because you can qualify, if you like, on the softest tyres possible, as the Gort has done with a 126.9, but you leave yourself vulnerable to the race. A lot of drivers, especially the quick ones, are starting to qualify on softs and medium tyres to help them in the race. We're not seeing the full potential and their full one-lap pace in qualifying anymore.
No, definitely not. It's something we've seen towards the end of last season with quite a few drivers. I remember Squeezy doing it quite a few times. He'd be one of the first drivers out of pit lane, first one to set a lap time, and then just before he got to the line, he just slammed the brakes on and slow right down, just getting obviously a bit of a sighter in. With the short qualifying session now being 18 minutes rather than the 12 minutes it was in last year's game, it gives the drivers more ability to take a banker lap to start with. And then try later on, whereas the 12 minutes didn't give them that luxury. They had to be on it straight away if they wanted to get a decent qualifying position. But it is becoming much more and more about the race strategy, about the tyre strategy, and working it around that way. We've heard Spike in Commentator's Corner quite a few times talking about driving the car to the delta, trying to keep the tyres within a perfect operating window, basically, to make them last as long as possible. So it's definitely becoming more tactical rather than about outright speed, I would say, certainly in the qualifying sessions, and it's something that I've seen across some other games as well. It's actually something I do when racing elsewhere on GT3s. I know I'm not quick enough for single lap pace, so I'm always concentrating on the race myself. So I think a lot of people are kind of lining it up that way nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. It does add an interesting element to qualifying. Do you go for the fastest time possible, or do you concentrate, sacrifice maybe initial grid position and go for strategy later on in the race, as we've got Clifford retiring from the session. That is sector 3. So we'll have a ride on board with Spike here, who's currently P10. I can't see any yellow flags out coming down towards the final 2 corners, as you put it, Andy. It's technically should be 1 corner anyway, but we won't matter too much about that right now. But Spike there down in P10. That's a bit of a shock at the moment. Okay, he's on a set of soft tyres right now, and he backed out of his super soft lap, but you'd expect him to be higher up the field, especially in a brand new season.
Definitely so. I mean, he was another one, as we've said, he kind of toyed with both ideas, setting a lap time on a harder set of tyres to go for the alternative strategy, as Jay betters his benchmark down to a 1:26.1 there. So he's now 8/10 clear of anybody else. So he's looking pretty good for pole position. But yeah, Spike did toy between both ideas towards the end of the season. He did go for it. I think it was at the American Grand Prix. He stuck it on pole position as well at that race. So he backed out at that first one, and that was on the super softs, and hopefully he needs a good lap time on these yellow soft tyres to avoid having to start on them. Because at the moment, although he's on the cusp of the top 10, if no one else bettered his time, then he's going to have to start on those super softs if he doesn't improve. So he's going to definitely want to better his time here. Mays has decided he's had enough off at the session as well. He's going to be outside the top 10, so he'll get a fresh set of tyres. I'm watching Spike coming through sector 2. It's unfortunately not telling me if he's up on his current lap time, so we'll see where he ends up as he comes down the back straight. He's not got the battery turned up at the moment, so maybe he's lining it up for a go this time by. This is definitely not going to be a quick time, so he's also gone for a 2-lap run here, and this is going to be his quick lap now, because he's well over 1:30, so we'll keep an eye on that. But 2.5 minutes to go, but it's definitely coming more a tyre strategy situation in qualifying. It makes it interesting for us trying to keep an eye on all the different strategies, who's where, who might drop out where, who might get the undercut, the overcut, etc. So it definitely makes it interesting, but it's a shame we don't get to see these drivers really go for it every single lap in qualifying, because that would be absolutely spectacular.
The goal then, coming around the final 2 corners on to start his flying lap. Currently P2 at the moment, the Gort, but separated by 0.8 of a second to Jay there. But remember, he set his fastest lap on a set of super soft tyres and is looking like he wants to prioritise grid position rather than race strategy. Who knows, you could probably make these super soft tyres last, but you're going to have a very difficult time. Bahrain infamously is a track that punishes the tyres, especially with high tyre track temperature, I should say, which means the carcass has to be looked after. Of course, in this new game, it's not only about the tyre surface, but it's the tyre carcass as well. If that gets too hot, you start to struggle with blisters on tyres and general loss of grip. So it's going to be tough there as Jay retires from the session, so he won't be able to improve on a 1:26.1. We're riding with the Gort then as we come onto the back straight into the DRS zone as he makes his way towards the next couple of corners as we go uphill now. And let's see how the Gort handles this then. Going up a gear just to reduce that wheel spin if possible. Now flying through the right-hander. We saw many people lose it there. I've lost it there plenty of times, taking that curb absolutely wrong. But now we head with the Gort then down the hill towards the final 2 corners then. And what can he do then? Chuck the car in. That huge level of grip, especially with the aero now. Keep the steering wheel as straight as possible into the DRS zone. Can the Gort grab pole position? No, he can't. He does improve though. 126.4, but it's only enough for P2 right now.
Yeah, it's improved on his lap time, so it's definitely going to mean top 10 for him. It's getting a bit of a traffic jam out there, although a few drivers have dropped out of the session and skipping through quite a number of drivers, and a lot of them trying to get out of the way, trying to find track position. Seen Lambo basically down to a crawl coming up to the last corner, just trying to get enough space to start his lap. He's on the soft tyres. The session is now over, so it's now a case of who's on a flying lap. You've got the time to finish it. I'm currently watching Pole coming up through the end of sector 2. He's now coming down the back straight to this end of his last flying lap. He's now on a set of the yellow marked soft tyres. So he's set his best lap time on super soft, so he'll be hoping to improve on this lap time to give him a better strategy in the race. Can he improve on his lap time? He does. He's into 4th position, 4 tenths down, and that means he'll start on the yellow marked soft tyres. So good lap for him. Blizzard chucks it up into 2nd place in the soft tyres, only just shy of 2 tenths down. It's a pretty good lap time from the Force India driver. Lighty is into 6th. Lambos moves up to 7th, soft tyres as well. Spike does improve to 8th, so he doesn't have to start in those red super softs, so he'll be happy at that. Just try to see who else. Francis is coming through the final part of the lap just now, coming down the hill. So he's about to finish his lap. Lighty, or Latino, or whoever you wish to call him, is now just aborted the lap. So Francis and Alan Kay are the only and Ollie P are the only drivers that can still finish a lap, although the Gort's on 1-2, so they've still got a few Gorts retired, so that puts paid to that one. Francis moves up to 6th place on the soft tyres as well, and that puts an end to the session. I didn't quite see what happened with Alan's time, but that is pole position still for Jay. Really good lap time from him.
Absolutely, it's another pole position to add to his collection. He had a couple last season, and I'll tell you what, Francis and Alan timed that to perfection. They crossed that start-finish line with only a couple of seconds left of qualifying, so they timed that to perfection. The pole position goes to Jay on the super soft tyres, Blizzard in 2nd on the soft tyres, the Gort in 3rd, Poe in 4th on softs, Ollie in 5th, Francis in 6th, Clifford in 7th, Lighty in 8th, Lambo 9th, Spike in 10th, Squeezy in 11th, Sean in 12th, Ollie in 13th, Maze 14th, Plaster 15th, Damien 16th, Stefan 17th, and Alan Kay is starting in 18th place. And it'll be interesting with the top 10 there. Obviously, they're all going to have to start on the tyres they qualified on. Only 2 out of the top 10 qualified their best lap time on a set of super soft tyres, and it just shows you how the balance of qualifying has shifted from last season to this. Definitely so.
I mean, a lot of drivers believe that the optimum strategy around here is either medium to soft or soft to medium. There's not too many that feel the super soft is the optimum strategy in terms of outright pace and tyre life. Those super softs are likely to go off around about maybe somewhere between lap 5 and lap 8, depending on how good your setup is and how good your driving is. But even that is going to be a bit of a push, considering the drivers will have done at least 2 or 3 laps on qualifying, obviously an out lap, flying lap, and the in lap as well. So it's definitely going to see Jay and the Gort are going to be in the pits first of all. They're going to be the first ones to pit, and it's going to be a case of can they disappear up to the front and out the way quick enough so that they can drop back in and make advantage of it later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we saw Squeeze there just qualify outside the top 10 on a set of medium tyres, so he'll be able to choose a fresh set of tyres, and I'm assuming he's going to pick the soft tyres, but we'll run through the order then. So Jay grabbing pole position for Ferrari on a set of super soft tyres, Blizzard in 2nd on those softs, the rest of the top 10 obviously starting on the tyres they qualified on. For Squeezy though, he's got a brand new set of medium tyres going to go long into this race, as is Sean in P12. Ollie in 13th, Maze 14th, Blaster 15th, and Damien 16th, as Damien has a little bit of a moment there. He won't be happy I got that on the stream, but never mind, they're all starting on soft tyres. Steph and Alan Kay in 17th and 18th are starting on a medium set of tyres. So no one then, outside of the top 10, are starting on the super soft tyres. In fact, only 2 people out of 18 starting on those Red Bull super soft tyres. Yeah,
definitely not a surprise for anyone outside the top 10 to be starting on them. A couple of them obviously deciding go for the soft tyres, maybe feel more comfortable on the soft compound rather than going for the medium early doors, maybe feeling they can get better life out of the medium tyres later on when the fuel load has gone down a bit. So definitely going to be interesting. Jay and the Gort need to get as good a start as possible and try to get at least a few seconds or so up the road from everyone else. They've obviously got Blizzard, who we all know is very, very quick in the middle of them on the yellow marked soft tyres in that Force India. We know how quick he is, as we said a few times. Cole's there as well. Ollie, TTG Ollie's got 2 Ollies now, so we'll need to be careful with that. He's kicking about. Francis as well. Lambo's down in 9th, Spike in 10th. We've got a lot of quick drivers here. Even Squeezy starting from 11th place. We're keeping an eye on his progress. Winner in Melbourne on the medium, so he's going to be going long into this race before he comes anywhere near pit road, unless he ends up in a bit of an incident that he needs to repair damage for. So this is going to be a very, very interesting race. Pit stop time, as it usually is, as I've just seen Francis spinning the tyres up and losing it out the last corner. He won't be happy I've put that one on the stream, even though you might not have seen it. But pit stop time is in quite a lot of tracks, somewhere around about the sort of 20-second mark. So Dre and that need to get at least, I would say, at least 5 seconds up the road minimum from the guys behind, the nearest to them, to have a good chance of good points here. It's going to be a really interesting racing day.
Well, TTL F1 is brought to you by weakwifi-solutions.com. It's also brought to you by fatalgrips.com. Use TTL F1 at the checkout for a 10% discount off your entire order. Meanwhile then, we're waiting for the 5 red lights here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Here they are. Round 2 is underway, and what are the start side looks like? Jay has got a great start off the line, but look at Blizzard here, still trying to hold the inside line. He might have a better second phase of the start, then he'll have the inside line going into turn 1, and he looks like he's got the lead, has he? Jay's just trying to stick it on the inside, pushing Blizzard a little bit wide, and they just about make it through. Meanwhile, Poe behind them, there's yellow flags everywhere. TTG Ollie's out of the race. And he spun around, or Lambo spun around as well behind them. A little bit of carnage behind. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Ollie there, but Jay's lost the lead to Blizzard in all of that. Poe has moved up into 3rd place. Gork dropping down to 4th. Francis there is in 5th place with Lighty, Clifford, Spike, Squeezy and Sean rounding out the top 10. Here comes the Gork down the inside and the teammates make contact. Poe and the Gort there making contact, and Francis here might try his hand at going around the outside, coming into the tight corner here, but into the DRS zone, which of course is not active yet. A little bit hectic so far into the first lap of the race. Sean then going up into P10. Good start from him on the medium tyres, so we'll want to try and look after them, but be careful of the Haas teammates here. This could end in tears if they're not careful.
Yeah, if they're not careful, it's going to be Force India. I ask if they want to be careful of what they're doing there. I didn't quite catch what happened to TTG, Ollie and obviously Lambo now at the back of the field, but I jumped on board. I think it was on board with Sean, and it was like 3 wide into turn 1 at one point. Contact with a couple of them, wheels to side pod, wheels to wheel touching. So obviously 2, 3 into 1 doesn't go, and TTG Ollie and the Red Bull comes off the worst out all of that, and Lambo's lost a lot of time as well. We've got Polo coming down the front straight, looking at the back of the other Red Bull. If Francis going into turn 1, he's going up the inside. Can he get the move done? And he got that done, but Francis to the outside now, to the inside for turn 2, and he steals the place back. And I think these two are going to continue on for much longer. Lambo's poor start to the race and the season, 5-second penalties in the pits, must need repairs as Paul looked to the inside again into turn 4, but Francis able to cut it off. But frantic stuff all going on. Damien, I think, got picked up a penalty as well there, so I think he's came into pits too. But yeah, it was quite a lot of carnage going on behind, and there's many cars into one place, and Ollie came off worst of all.
Yeah, Damien got a 5-second stop-go penalty for a severe collision with Mays there. That was going into, I believe, turns 2 and 3. Not entirely sure, didn't catch it on the stream, but the game has awarded Damien with a 5-second stop-go penalty. So he'll have to serve that at his next pit stop then. Blizzard leads the way from Jay, Francis, Poe, the Gort, Lighty, Clifford, Spike, Squeezy and Ollie. That is your top 10 so far of round 2 here in Bahrain.
Yeah, definitely. It's looking very interesting. Jay, that's going to be, he's still in second. He's not the start he would have wanted, being on the super softs, to get jumped by one of the guys behind him. If he was going to get jumped by anyone, he would have preferred it to have been the Gort, who was on similar tyres to him. So he needs to try and stick to the back of Blizzard as much as possible and let the Force India drag him along. Here comes Pole one more time down the front straight, looking at Francis and the Red Bull. Francis goes to the inside this time to cover off the apex of turn one. Pole's going to try and go the long way around, but Francis gets better traction on the exit and is able to keep the place for now. But these guys are running pretty much in a train, and is allowing the two at the front to get about 2 seconds clear up front, which will be helping Jay, and that's what he needs being on those super softs, because he's going to be in the pits within the next 3 to 5 laps with those tyres going off. They're just going to fall off a cliff before long. But Francis is getting a bit of a train behind him. You can see it there. Got 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, nearly in the one camera shot. Spike's not far off the back of that as well, and Squeezy and Ollie P kicking about as well. So 3rd down to nearly 11th as Lighty gets it all wrong there into turn 9 and 10. That's going to allow Clifford to go up the inside, down the back straight. DRS for both of them. And the Force India's got the move done. Hopefully there's no contact here into the next corner. And you keep it safe for now as Poe is side by side going around the outside of Francis up the hill. That's a very brave move. He tried that in qualifying, got it wrong, spun, and Francis squeezes him off the side of the track. It's going to allow the Gort to get up the inside of his teammate coming down the hill towards the last turn, 14 and 15, and it looks like the Gort is going to get moved on, but Poe goes right round the outside. The two Haas cars fighting over the one piece of track, and Poe holds on to that for now. That's given Francis a tad of breathing space, means he might not be attacked down here, but he doesn't have DRS obviously, so he still needs to be very, very careful. If Poe launches an attack down the inside into turn 1, that's a late breaking move from Poe there, but Francis seen it come and managed to cover it off, so all the action is kicking off behind the front two, and there's a train going behind the Red Bull. Poe now to the inside for turn 4. Can he finally get the move done? He's going to squeeze the Red Bull wide, gives him plenty of space actually. He was quite surprised he left him that much space, could have got a bus down that, but he's got the move done finally. Can he pull away from this train of cars? Pulling up behind is Clifford's having a look at the Gort, and Spike is looking at the back of Lighty, and Squeezy kicking about as well. It's all going off in the midfield.
Absolutely, it's a huge train here, as you were saying, Andy. A huge train of cars here, going at the moment from P3 down to the Red Bull there, I believe. That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's Ollie. So a huge train of cars, 7 of them to be exact. I think that's right, 7 or 8. Either way, It's a huge amount of cars battling over one piece of track at the moment. And I'm just wondering about Poe and the Gort there. They were fighting over position, and there's obviously second race of the season as Spike picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. Obviously second race of the season, you're not going to have team orders just yet, but I've got to be careful because Haas here look in a good place to score some valuable championship points, running 3rd and 5th at the moment. They've just got to be careful that they don't trip up over each other.
Definitely want to make sure they don't trip over each other. Poe's now having to go to the inside line because Francis has now got the DRS down the front straight, but the Red Bull unable to make the move back. The Gort has got a lot of company behind him. Clifford's looking very racy in that second Force India. His teammate Blizzard has managed to pull 2.2 seconds clear of Jay up front, so he is trying to check out. And
that's Spike and Lighty into the wall. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I think Lighty was trying to squeeze Spike there, and they both collected each other, both into the wall, heading up towards turn 4. A bizarre incident, but it's left Spike out of the race for the second race running, and Lighty's got a significant amount of front wing damage there. Couldn't quite tell you the full story of how that happened because it just happened in the background, but it's left up Lighty with a big amount of damage and Spike out of the race completely.
I just caught the end of that as well, didn't quite see what happened, but yes, Spike in the apex area, turn 4, missing one front wheel, so I'm sure we'll hear in a bit what happened there. I'm seeing in the chat, which is from Ollie, TTG Ollie, saying Fran took him off. I'm trying to figure out who that is. He's saying that he got taken out of the race on lap 1. Didn't get any further than the first couple of turns, unfortunately, for the Red Bull. And Spike obviously out there as well. I think Ollie retired. I think they both retired in that first corner mayhem at Melbourne as well. So both races for those two have been pretty poor so far. Some, possibly due to no fault of their own as well. So really, really frustrating start for both Ollie and Spike. That was a bit of kicking about there as Poe spun Francis out. Don't know if it was netcode or what, but Francis looked like he went right into the back of Poe. And then the next thing I seen was Poe going sideways. Francis is actually pulling aside, and he's actually allowed Paul back through, which has cost him 3 places in total, but that is total sportsmanship. He obviously realised he was wrong and caused Paul to spin there, so I've got to applaud Francis for that. Really, really respectful driving there. If he feels he was at fault, got to applaud that there, definitely so, 100%.
Well, with that move then, as the Red Bull just about loses the back end there, just kept it in check, just about. What that means though is that the Gort has been promoted up to P3. Clifford, by the way, up into P4. Great race from him so far on the soft tyres, but Poe's closing that gap down as we head towards turn 11 for the 6th time in this race. And you can see there the Force India of Clifford just looking to try and not only attack the Gort there, but also try and hold up Poe as much as he possibly can. It's always a bizarre thing when you're trying to attack the car in front but having to defend from the car behind. You get yourself caught in two minds, and sometimes that's where the mistake lies. As we head down towards the final 2 corners then, as Clifford looks to try and line up a move. Of course, he will have the DRS going down the main straight, but we've got to watch out for Poe as well. Francis looking in the slipstream as well, as Ollie and Squeezy look like they're going to have a look. As that's a Haas going very defensive going in towards turn 1 here as they go side by side here. The Gort tried to go very defensive, and well, I think the super soft tyres are coming towards the end of their life, because here comes Poe now on the inside of the Gort as we head up the hill towards turn 4 then, and I don't think the Gort made that too difficult for Poe there. He will be fighting him, of course, for superiority later on down the line, but at the moment then Poe looks like he's got himself ahead, and I think the Gort's tyres are just coming to the end of their sell-by date, as Francis there is getting attacked by Squeezy, trying to go up the inside there. Down the hill he went for the move, down the inside as we now head towards a difficult braking zone. It's going to be very tight here into turn 10, but Squeezy's made the move stick there. Great move from Squeezy. He's up to P6 now, round the outside in towards turn 10, the most difficult braking point on the circuit to get absolutely spot on, but he's absolutely got it right. Up to P6 he goes.
Fantastic move there from the McLaren driver, and he's the highest medium tyre runner, so putting himself in a really good position. The Gort down the front straight went right to the extreme right to the extreme inside for turn 1, and just put himself in the worst position possible, because all he done there was pinch the apex, make it tighter than it needed to be, and that just allowed Clifford to go right round the outside. But all this battling going on behind, and that incident with Francis let Paul get back through, crossing a few places, as we see the Gort head for pit lane, is giving Jay a bit of an advantage. He's 4.5 seconds behind Blizzard, but he's got 4 seconds to Clifford. That could make the difference later on in the race when he comes into the pits, and I'd expect to see him in the pits possibly next time round, while he's still got this gap to those guys behind. Paul's managed to get the run on Clifford coming up towards turn 4, but the Force India trying to fight back here. Haas versus Force India into turn 4, and Paul in the 34 machine has got the move done, and on the soft tyres he'll try once again to pull away from those behind, but this is helping Jay a bit, and it could allow him to come back into play later on in the race. But Blizzard is looking peerless out front, 5.5 seconds clear, and he's got the fastest lap of the race. He's the only driver to have dipped under 1 minute 30 so far. We are 1 minute 29.8, and that's on the second compound, the soft tyres, middle of the 3 ranges, so he's looking absolutely brilliant and looking to break a race win to go in 2nd place, first time out in Melbourne on Tuesday night.
Absolutely. The Gort then rejoined in 11th place. He's rejoined on a set of soft tyres, so making those get to the end will be a bit difficult. I don't know. Oh, that was very close to Alan Kay there as he came in towards turn 10. Somehow he kept control of the car there, the Gort. Aggressive with Alan Kay was an understatement there, but he managed to keep the car facing the right direction, and he's now up to P10.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch that one. I'm still keeping an eye on the train of cars. Jay's finally came into the pits now, as I expected, so I'd imagine he's going to put the medium compound tyres onto that one. It would be the most sensible option to do. Yeah, medium tyres are going on, so he can surely go to the end of the race. We need to keep an eye on Lambo later on in the race. He's just having a bit of a fight with Steph at the moment coming up the hill. Lambo pitted on lap 1, getting caught up in that incident that put TTG Ollie out of the race. Obviously had damaged his front wing. He's on the medium tyres. It's going to be a heck of a stint to get him to the end, but he could technically get to the end of the race if he wanted to. So we'll need to keep an eye on his progress as he goes round the outside of Steph into the last corner. A lovely move there from the Toro Rosso.
Absolutely great move from Lambo, and as you were saying, it could be a chance to grab some late points, especially if there's a safety car later on in the race. Of course, that could spice things up. We'll see if Steph can have a go back in towards turn 1, but I don't think he does. Meanwhile, Jay rejoined ahead of the Gort. The gap is now 6.9 between the two of them. Jay rejoining on a set of medium tyres. That's his one and only stop. He'll hope that's been made now. Lap 9 of this Grand Prix then. Blizzard leads the way from Poe. Then it's Clifford in 3rd, Squeezy in 4th, Francis 5th, Ollie in 6th, Sean in 7th, Plaster 8th, Jay in 9th, the Gort in 10th. Alan Kay is in 11th, Leite is in 12th, Lambo 13th, Steph 14th, Mays in 15th, Damien, the last of the runners at the moment, in 16th place. We've lost Spike in this race with an incident just before turn 4, and Ollie with an incident on lap number 1.
Yeah, so Jay coming out ahead of the Gort. He's obviously gained time there. The Squeezy just cut back to the live action. Squeezy going up the inside of Clifford into turn 1. That's another great move from the McLaren driver. Had a couple of incidents towards the end of last year that seen him get a qualifying ban as well. But in this race and towards the end of last season, he's made some fantastic moves, and he's now moved himself into 3rd place. We're not going to expect to see him in the pits, I would say, for at least another 8 to 10 laps. So he's in good position. But Jay being 6 seconds clear of the Gort, we'll need to see how it filters out when the rest of the pit stops happen. But he was only about 3.5 to 4 seconds ahead of 3rd place, which was roughly where the Gort was at the time he pitted. So he's gained some time there over the Gort, and that could prove very good later on in the race. He'll be hoping for a podium. He just needs to keep himself out of trouble. But Blizzard 10 seconds clear up front. He's basically jumped into the lead at the start, and he's basically been on his own, apart from a little bit with Jay keeping tabs on him in the first couple of laps, and he's just kind of drove off into the distance. Cole's managed to get himself 1.5 to those behind, but Squeezy now in 3rd is trying to drop Clifford, who's now got Francis for company, coming down towards the last couple of corners. So this looks to be one of the closest battles on track. The other one's Plaster and Leite. Lambo and Steph are still pretty close as well. So keep an eye on. In fact, they're both heading for pit lane. So Francis and Clifford have decided the soft tyres 9 laps, although 3 in qualifying. So about 11, 12 laps. That's the life of these tyres, and I'd expect to see medium tyres for both of them, and it is indeed that. So both of the drivers onto the medium compound. That will be their one and only stop unless they have any issues later on. Jay coming down the front straight, so he's managed to get back ahead of both of them after the pit stop phase, and it looks like he's actually possibly gained a little bit of time on them as well. So the undercut looks to be more powerful than the overcut here. Hitting earlier is the thing to do, so we might see some other drivers up the front like Blizzard, Poe and Ollie still on the soft tyres, maybe pitting within the next couple of laps to try and get the jump on some of these guys around them.
Absolutely, that's a Haas there of the Gort. Having a look at the back of Francis, of course the Gort there is on a set of soft tyres, and looking ominously at the back of that Red Bull then as they head now down the hill towards turn number 8. As you can see, Francis is looking to try and have a go at Clifford there. We look at the position changes at the moment. Of course, not everyone's made a stop so far, so it's a bit unfair to call anybody out so far. But as we saw there, Clifford ran a little bit wide on the exit there. That's going to allow Francis to have a go as Blizzard from the lead pits in. That's Francis moved up into 7th place. Of course, getting past Clifford, that was an important thing for him to do. And now going up the hill, Clifford has got to watch out from the Gort behind, who is on a set of soft tyres. So he's got to watch out now. He's got to do some defending. Clifford has stopped as well, but those medium tyres don't look to have warmed up for the Force India just yet then. Blizzard from the lead of the race pits in. Where will he rejoin? It looks like he's going to rejoin just behind Sean there in P4, and that's exactly what's happened. So he's got to get through a bit of traffic there. That's not ideal. That's not really what he wanted. But we've also got Poe into the pits as well, onto a set of medium tyres. That means Squeezy then takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. That puts Ollie P in 2nd, Sean in 3rd. Clifford and Francis still battling for position there, and Clifford looks like he made a move going into turns 1, 2 and 3. He's put himself back ahead of Francis. So the Force India there proving he's not going to go... he's not going to go out without a fight. He's not going to let go of P7 without a fight either. This is painful for Francis because he wants to try and get past, but he knows he can't, and the Gort is just waiting in the background, looking for an opportunity to try and find a way past. There went Poe through the picture just before this battle came through. And for the Gort then, it's just about waiting and seeing what happens. Of course, he's already done 4 laps on those soft tyres. I highly doubt he's going to get those to the end. I think the Gort's gone for a 2-stop, and that might hurt him towards the end of the race, Andy.
Yeah, I've got to think, I mean, if he gets it right, then fair play to him, but I think that was the wrong strategy call. I think we need to go with the medium tyres. That's why when we look at the standings there, you can see everybody except for the Gort and Ollie P on the medium tyres. Ollie's still to pit. The Gort has pitted though, so I do think that's a bit of a mistake. Jay's managed to maintain net P2 at the moment. Blizzard came out in 4th, Jay in 5th. In fact, Blizzard's just past Sean down the front straight into turn 1, gets the move done, but Jay still holding a net P2 at the moment from where he was, and he's still about 4 seconds clear of pole. So pitting when he did has worked out. He's managed to get the jump, and all the battling behind has really helped him being on those super soft tyres, so that's worked out well for him. Just checking the chat as well, Spike, who obviously is out the race as you mentioned, incident at turn 4 with Letinho, which is Lighty, he says it was lag. The cars were side by side and his cars lagged into mine, so there's nothing going on there, nothing untoward. It was just an unfortunate case of the netcode and lagging that caused that incident.
Well, it's such a shame to see from Spike there. That's the 2nd retirement out of 2 this season. I'm sure he'll be delighted with me saying that, but he'll be looking forward to the next round already. We see Francis here made a move on Clifford going into turns 1, 2 and 3 into the 2nd DRS zone. Obviously Francis won't have that DRS. Further down the field then, Lambo is still trying to resurrect something from this race. He's behind Plaster right now. Lambo, who has already made 1 stop this race, as Andy was saying earlier on, due to damage to the car, looking to try and salvage as many points as possible. And of course, it's these races where things haven't really gone your way, when you've got to get as many points as you possibly can. Just keep your head down and score those points in a recovery drive. It's these races that matter, as Lambo tries to go up the inside, and to be fair to Plaster, I don't think he put up too much of a fight. He did run a little bit wide on the exit of turn 11 there, but Lambo is now up into P12.
Yeah, good move there. Plaster looks like he nearly bumped into the back of the Toro Rosso going into turn 13 there. But Lambo trying to salvage something from this race after getting caught up in that first lap incident. He can run to the end of the race if those tyres will last, so he can get to the end, but he'll be looking to pick up anything, having not scored first time out in Bahrain. But yeah, it's the interesting bit for me at the moment is going to be when does Squeezy come into the pits. He's on first at the moment. He's 7 seconds clear at Ollie. He's got a total of 9 seconds to Blizzard. But I'm looking at this gap to around about where Poe is at the moment. Poe's 20 seconds behind Squeezy at the moment. Obviously, we expect the McLaren to stay at least for another 4 laps, I would say, around about lap 18 to lap 20. And if you can push it further than that, you might even go for the super softs for the end of the race, you never know. But if that gap stays around about 20 seconds or so, I'm expecting Squeezy to drop back in right around about where Poe is right now in 6th place if he was to pit now, or if it stays at that. And if that was the case, that would actually be a bit of a net gain for the McLaren, because he was behind Poe, along with a couple of other drivers, as Ollie finally pits from 2nd place on those soft tyres. So be interesting when the leader pits and where does he drop back out, because that could make it very interesting. And if you can make these last around about lap 20, you might even throw on the red super softs, and then we'll really need to watch out how he finishes this race.
Absolutely. Here comes Clifford then towards turn 1, trying to go round the outside of Francis into the braking zone. They go, and Francis has got the inside line into turn 1, and he's got that line through turn 2, but he does pick himself up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. Here comes Clifford then towards turn 4, now trying to go round the outside once again as we ride on board here, as Francis just tries to close the door, and it's just about worked there. Clifford has to maintain P7 for now, and the Gort then, who may be trying to preserve his tyres, is looking at this battle thinking, well, I can just save my tyres here, try and make them go to the end, and won't get a bad result out of it at all.
Yeah, he really has to nurse those tyres. He needs to treat them like it's candy floss or chewing or whatever you wish to put it as. He really needs to make those tyres last. Done 7 laps already. We've still got, what, about 14 laps to go, 15 laps to go at the moment, so he's going to have to make them go over 20 laps It's a long time to push those soft tyres. If they can make it work, pick up some good points, and I will be the first one to applaud them on it. I do still think it's the wrong strategy call. But Blizzard 7 seconds behind Squeezy, so he's reeling in the leader pretty quickly. He's setting the fastest lap last time around. He's just increased it even further one more time with a 29.5, so that Force India is absolutely flying. It'd be a brave man to bet against him winning this race, considering the pace he's got at the moment. Sean, though, in third place at the moment in the Williams. He's 7 seconds behind Blizzard. He's got 2 and a bit to Jay behind him. Still not pitted. Started on the medium tyres, and that could work out really good for him later on in the race to gain some points. As Clifford and Francis one more time into turn 1. Francis gets the better of the battle for now and is in 6th place at the moment, so he'll be trying to keep it, but Clifford once again is not going to take this lying down, and he tries to go the long way around the outside of turn 4. The Gort right there as well, unable to do so. And this is going to be a continuous battle, I think. And is it just me, but it's taken me all these races to realise that Clifford's red is either something to do with his football team, but why does it remind me of Clifford the Big Red Dog?
I have no idea, Andy. No, I got nothing for that one. No, I got nothing. You know how sometimes I'm speechless? This is one of those moments. I have nothing to say about that one, Andy.
I've managed that a few times now. I'm getting good at this.
You are, I have to say that. As you were saying with Sean then, because I didn't have a camera on him at the time, third place, as you were saying, Squeezy is in from the lead of the race. 16 laps on those medium tyres. Now, will Sean do maybe one more lap on those tyres, or will he come in at the same time? He's had a good strategy, good stint so far, but he comes into the pits. It'll be interesting to see where he rejoins then. So that means Jay goes up into P3. Of course, now all of the top 3, this is when everyone starts to filter through, as everyone has now completed one stop. Here's Clifford though in the slipstream of Francis, trying to go on the left hand side of the track where there isn't really much space. There's Squeezy, you can see rejoining ahead of them. Here comes Francis down the inside, but he's overcooked it. Now he's got to try and defend, as Clifford will try and go around the exit outside of turn 2 into turn 3 they go. Have they kept it clean? Yes, they have. But look at this, Clifford now trying to go up the inside in towards turn 4. Francis trying to make sure there isn't much of a gap, but here comes Clifford down the inside. There's the Gort as well, trying to make this a 3-wide battle, but Clifford has got ahead of Francis. Great battling from those two. It was hard, but it was fair, but Clifford's run a little bit wide, and Francis takes that position straight back. All that hard work from Clifford there to try and get the position has all been undone with one little mistake that's let Francis straight back through.
Fantastic driving from both of them. Francis really pushed Clifford to the edge of the track, but obviously in an aggressive manner, but not too aggressive. He's really pushing it again though. He's having to get the elbows out. Clifford down the inside with the DRS, and he's now got the move done one more time. Red Bull trying to cut back up. Squeezy ahead of him, came out in front, so he's now up to 4th place, having started 11. Starting on those medium tyres, running long. He's managed to jump these guys. That might be wing damage for Francis though. He needs to be very careful. He just bumps into the back of the Force India there. You can't see it visually on the camera by the looks of it, but there was a little bit of carbon fibre fly off, and it's got to have been from that front wing of the Red Bull. We'll see if that starts to cause him issues. I doubt we'll see him flying into the pits, but Squeezy's been the big gainer in the pit stop phase. 4th place now on the softer compound tyre compared to everyone else around him. As here goes Francis for another late braking move up the inside. Can he finally get the move done one more time? He's through it in a moment, and Clifford has to back out. Francis wide onto the curb. The Force India now to the outside of the Red Bull, coming up towards turn 4 one more time. It's wide enough for 2 cars through here. Francis will just squeeze him, really squeezes him wide. Clifford keeps his foot in it through there and then into the downhill section, and once again a little bit of contact there, and Gort is looking to take advantage of it all, but Clifford manages hold of Gort to the inside. Could have lost his front wing there, but Clifford manages to hold on. The Gort gets a bit sideways on the exit, which he wouldn't want to be doing. The Clifford and Francis, for what I'm seeing though, it's aggressive, but it's aggressive, and Francis really losing it out of the turn 10, and that is going to allow Clifford a fantastic run down the back straight. He's got DRS as well, but it's a quick corner, there's not much braking into turn 11, and he has to hold station. So despite getting sideways, the Red Bull holds on. Aggressive driving, but for me, it is on the limit. It is on the line. It is just about fair. Oh, and there's the Force India now into the back of the Red Bull. So they've both picked up a little bit of damage, no doubt from that. The Gort just needs to sit tight and avoid getting caught up in this. Hopefully these two aren't picking up a bit of the red mist, because that would be the worst thing to see happen. This is a fantastic battle to be watching, to commentate on.
Absolutely. Well, this battle doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon, as the Gort then comes into the pits. We've got yellow flags in Sector 1. So I'm not entirely sure who that could be. We're coming up to the yellow flag zone now, but Clifford is trying to go round the outside then as we head into turns 1 and 2. There was a yellow flag, but it then went away. So Clifford tried to take advantage of that then. As we see now, heading up the hill towards turn 4. As you can see, Francis just trying to leave as little room as possible as he has the inside line here. Clifford just can't really do a lot when he's on the outside like that. But now heading through this S section here, you can see where this front wing damage is now hurting him, especially going through 5, 6 and 7. Down the hill towards turn 8 here, the two of them are inseparable. There you can see is a McLaren there, but I think that is either Damien or Steph a lap down. You can see though, Clifford really starting to close up this gap. What this is good news for though is Ollie, who's closing in on that battle. If these two keep battling the way they are, Ollie's got a good chance of taking a position away from both of them as Francis goes defensive, defending the inside line going into turn 11, but that might compromise his exit here. Clifford might chance at going around the outside of turn 12. Francis saw that coming, and he's not going to let that happen. You can see there Clifford running wide, picking himself a 3-second time penalty. That will add to obviously both of those times to the end of the race. Francis has picked up penalties, so has Clifford. They're battling so hard, they're giving each other penalties here as we head down towards the final two corners of 14 and 15. Who's going to get the better exit? Clifford will have the DRS, of course, as Francis makes his one move to the inside. As we now head all the way down that long straight, you can see they're side by side now as we head towards turn 1. Looks like Clifford just about a nose ahead as we head towards turn 1, but Francis looks like he's got the better braking here and is trying to squeeze out Clifford here. Clifford's got the inside line, Francis squeezed to the outside as they look like they're just about keeping it clean for now. A tremendous battling between these two. They're battling so hard, but it's all clean, it's all fair, and for now Francis stays ahead.
A fantastic battle, and they're really pushing the limits, including the track limits, hence why you've seen Clifford picking up a penalty. Got the better traction out of turn 1 through into turn 2, squeezed up the inside, pushed Francis wide through 3. Francis just kept his foot in it, and all the way up to turn 4 one more time. Fantastic stuff. The yellow flag you were talking about, it was Mays had ran wide in the Renault through turn 1 and 2, but he was managing to stay out of the way, so no issues there. Alan Kay's been in the pits. He's now on a set of super soft tyres down in 13, so we're hoping to try and gain up to the last couple of points, but he's got a lot of time to make up. Clifford runs very wide, nearly collects the Mercedes, which I believe is Damien possibly, or Steph, one of two. Lambo still in 12th place. He's been in and made another pit stop as well now, so he's onto a fresh set of soft tyres. Latinio Lighty's been in as well, so they've made 2 stops now, both of those drivers. Steph, Nath and Damien have been in recently as well, but back towards the front end. Squeezy's only 2.5 seconds behind Poe, who's only a second behind Jay. He's nearly in DRS range. So we're going to have a battle for the podium positions before long, as well. We've been watching this battle for 5th and 6th between Francis and Clifford for I don't know how many laps now. Ollie's catching up to them as well, but we're soon going to have a battle over the final podium places. We're on lap 21 of 29 and it just continues. Damien's out of the race. I'll try and see what's happened to the Mercedes, but it's the 3rd retirement from the race.
Absolutely. Well, Poe, meanwhile, has been closing in on Jay then. 3 laps younger tyres, as he's now got the gap down to around about 0.8 of a second. He's got DRS, I believe, for only the first time in this battle with Jay then, so it's closing that gap. And we have 10 laps to go. Very, very interesting indeed. Sorry, 9 laps to go. My apologies. It will probably turn to 8 laps to go very, very shortly. But as you can see, Poe closing that gap. We've got Clifford here, still on the back of Francis. This battle for P5 has been going on for, as you say, Andy, for as long as we can remember. Ollie, though, has just got to pick his moment. He could have 2 positions here in one go. And what Clifford and Francis can't do is let this end in tears as they head through the through turn 13 here as they head down the hill now towards 14 and 15. You can see Clifford in the slipstream there. Is he going to try and move up the inside? No, he doesn't. Thinks again about it.
For a late move up the inside. Sorry, Kieran. Paul really late in the brakes on Jay up the inside. He was a mile back from the Ferrari. Thankfully, the Ferrari seen it coming, and Paul slides wide and loses time. But he was really late in the brakes. Daniel Ricciardo probably couldn't even stop that one.
Well, Francis then, meanwhile, is trying to go up the inside of Clifford, but Clifford, I think, has got the move done as Francis loses that back end very slightly. That's going to invite Ollie P to maybe have a move on his teammate. Ollie, who's been managing those tyres a lot better maybe than Francis. Francis going to go up the inside of turn 4. That's not really a move that you could make work as we head now through turns 5 and 6 side by side. Clifford has to back out of it. There's no room for 2 cars going through that S section, and all Ollie P has to do is watch this battle and pick his moment.
Definitely so. Just pick the moment and he'll gain 2 places here. These two have been fighting for ages. It's absolutely fantastic. It has been aggressive, but it has been, I would say, fair looking at what we can see. And it has been absolutely brilliant to watch. Damien, who's out the race, I caught what happened, seen where he was. He was at the outside of turn 2, so I don't know if he spun or lost it on the way out and caught the wall on the inside, but he was at the side of the track. The end of turn 1, turn 2, as Paul picks up a 5-second stop go penalty. That's going to come into effect towards the end of the race. He's got Squeezy 1.5 seconds behind. He's right on the back of Jay as well, coming down the front straight. Surely not going to do another late lunge after getting it wrong the last time round. No, he thinks better off at this time and sticks close by, so we've got to jump back though to the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. Clifford is the meat in a Red Bull sandwich right now, but he's not wanting to be there for long. DRS wide open, the battery's turned up to overtake mode. He goes to the inside, Ollie P goes to the outside. We've got 3 wide into turn 1, this could end in tears. Clifford runs deep into the turn, he's going to lose 2 places, he's not careful, and both Red Bulls get back through. Clifford drops down, having looked like he was going to gain a place. He's actually now dropped a place, and Ollie P moves up to 6th. Francis holds on to 5th, but this battle's going to go all the way to the checkered flag, I think, as long as it doesn't finish in tears. Polo is right behind Jay, coming into the DRS section down the back straight. Now, it's not really an overtaking spot down here. It's a very short braking zone, around about 100 metres, 75 metres. You drop only about 70 miles an hour down a couple of gears, so it's not really one to pass, but what he wants to do is follow as close as he can through this section. He really needs to get a move on though if he wants to gain good points. He's now got that 5-second penalty, and look in the background, Squeezy's now nearly within DRS range as well, so he's getting pretty close. We'll see this again if Blizzard 129.0, and he's easily pulling away. It's just been pretty easy for him. Clifford picking up 3-second time penalty for more warnings. I'm going to have a look at the penalties in a minute, but here goes Paul. He's close enough this time. Can he get the move done? Jay goes to the middle of the track, still leaves enough room to go up the inside for Paul. The Haas goes to the inside, but Jay's now got the inside for turn 2, squeezes Paul wide. Now they're side by side through turn 3, coming up towards turn 4. We've seen this many times with those behind. Can they go side by side? Jay turns in, Paul sees it coming, he gets sight. Oh, the Haas nearly goes spinning around. He manages to hold it, and Jay holds on for now, but Paul is looking feisty, and Squeezy's not far off that as well. Ollie P, meanwhile, has managed to jump ahead of Francis. The Red Bulls are having a fight. Hopefully they don't have a collision like Max and Daniel did in Baku. Side by side into turn 4, they're contacting wheels. That could cause problems. Clifford looking to make up the positions, and it's Ollie P. After all the battling between Francis and Clifford, it's Ollie P who now at the front of that train of 3 cars, and Sean is not too far off the back of him. He's 2.5 seconds. He's nearly got the box office seat to watch all the action here. Can Ollie stay ahead? Can he get a good run out of here to avoid DRS being an issue down the back straight? As I say, it's not much in the overtaking zone. If he can stay far enough ahead in that Red Bull, he can now pick himself up some good points. And Squeezy up the inside of the pole into the last corner. That's not really an overtaking zone. The McLaren really going by there. They're going to have both have DRS. Pole squeezes up towards the pit wall. Pole Squeezy, there's one for the books. Squeezy's going to go to the inside. He's surely not going to try and go by Jay at the same time as well. Surely not. Oh, goodness me, nearly contact there between the McLaren, the Ferrari, the Haas, and the McLaren side by side. Squeezy has to run wide, keeps his foot firmly planted to the firewall, but Paul manages to hold on for now, takes inside there. Squeezy tries to cut back. Can he get the move done? It's not really overtaken up there, and he has to pull back in for now. But we've now got two different battles as Francis has got by and then ran wide. He's now doing a bit of gardening across the only bit of grass here in the desert, and he's now lost the place to Clifford as Ollie P holds on. It must have been a really late breaking move into turn 1, and he's only got 5 laps to go, and I'm really out of breath.
Absolutely, here comes Squeezy up the inside going into turn 11. What a move from Squeezy there. Sorry, my apologies, turn 10. I lost the corner in my excitement there. The Squeezy's up to P3, and of course for Poe, he's got a 5-second stop go. So this is a disaster for him. If he keeps battling like this, he's going to lose even more time to the cars ahead. Luckily though, the next car to him is Ollie P, who's 19.6 down the road. So not the end of the world, but at this moment in time, I would focus on getting those tyres to the end of the race. But of course, Poe's not about that. Poe's about trying to get past Squeezy. Squeezy, meanwhile, is looking to try and defend the lead he has at the moment. Of course, if he finishes second, Blizzard and Squeezy will be tied for points at the start. But Francis is out of the race. What's happened to Francis here? We're on board with the Gort then as we head into turn 11. Let's have a look for the yellow flags. There he is. Oh, he's lost it. He's lost it on the curb on the outside of turn number 11.
No, he's wide. Squeezy, sorry, he's now lost out to Poe. He went up the inside of Jay, ran wide, and that's allowed the Haas to get back through. Francis obviously lit the tyres up coming through that uphill section. It's just spun him wide into the wall, so it's such a shame after all that battle, and he done with Clifford gave us some fantastic action. And Squeezy tried to take second place away from the Ferrari. Doing a late breaking move, I just caught the end of it. He ran wide and Poe managed to sneak back through. Obviously Poe does have that penalty. I'm going to try and have a look and see who else has got penalties to see how that might make an effect in these last couple of laps. But the top, this is a battle for the 2 of the 3 places in the podium, and Blizzard still out front in the lead. 11 seconds clear of this battle, but this is going all the way to the flag.
Absolutely. Well, Lambo's made a move on Plaster then. Lambo is finally back into the points with 4 laps to go. So a little victory for him. It will feel like a huge defeat, but that point could prove crucial coming towards the end of this season. You never know. But Jay here has got a lot of defending to do here. He's coming towards the end of the life on those tyres. As 17 laps he's done on those medium tyres, so he's got to be careful with them as we head towards the closing stages of this Grand Prix then. Lap 27, we have 3 laps to go. Blizzard leads the way from Jay, Poe and Squeezy. That is your top 4 right now. As here comes Poe. He's going to try and go down the inside of Jay in towards turn 1. Can he keep it clean? Yes, he can, just about. Jay there has to do his best defending possible as these 3 are going to battle all the way through turn 3 now. Up the hill they go towards turn 4. They're going to try and make it 3 wide going into turn 4. Here comes Poe up the inside of Jay. May have been a little bit of contact. Squeezy's come out of nowhere. Oh, the 3 collide! Oh no, they've taken each other out! Jay and Squeezy into the wall. Luckily all 4 tyres are attached so they can keep on going. Poe though meanwhile jumps up to second place, and 3 cars going in towards turn 5. Never happens, and all 3 cars look like they're damaged.
Squeezy's got missing his front wing, Jay's missing his front wing as well, so they're going to have to pits, because even with a couple of laps to go, they're going to lose an awful lot of time, and Ollie, Clifford and Sean are going to be catching up before long. I figured out why Clifford's been as racy as he does. He's got at least 9 seconds worth of penalties. He needs to try and stay as far up as he can to make as much points as he can. He's going to lose out quite a bit at the end of the race with penalties getting added on, but 3 into 1 there. I don't know if maybe we had a bit of netcode going on or something, but the 3 of them, Squeezy nearly managed to make a move to get 2 and 1, and then Jay just got squeezed Poe there as well. Just a squeeze happened, and 2 ended up with minus the front wing. I'm just trying to see if Poe's got any damage. He's carried on, so if he has any damage, he's feeling that it's not going to be bad enough, but Squeezy and Jay, it's such a good race from Jay as well he's had, and he might carry on. So he's only missing, in fact he is carrying on, so he's only missing the end plate of the right hand side, the left as we look at it. He's got Maze trying to unlap himself, but Squeezy definitely needs to pit for a new front wing. He's missing the entire wing section. Jay's going to try and carry on, but he's going to have the attention of Ollie and Clifford before long, who are still continuing. It's still Red Bull versus Force India. It might not be the same 2 drivers from earlier on, at least one of them's still there. And it's no contact again, goodness me. And that is a more contact, and Clifford's lost his wing. Sean's going to jump through as well, possibly by the looks that he does. So Sean jumps ahead. Clifford slowed down, I think, to allow Ollie to maintain the place, but it's cost him 5th to Sean, and he's got wing damage. You can see it on the front left-hand side. The end plate is missing. It's the right-hand side as we look at it head-on from the screen, and that's more wing damage. Surely he'll push it to the end, but 9 seconds worth of penalties means that the Gort, being 10 seconds back, could still jump up another place just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch out for Sean in these closing few laps. If Jay's front wing damage is as bad as it seems, he may be able to get himself up a couple more positions. He's got Ollie ahead of him, losing that back end very slightly there. Ballast maybe in the wrong place, but Blizzard here starts the final lap here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. We haven't seen much of him, but that's normally a good thing when you're leading the race. He starts lap 29 in the lead. Will he end it in the lead, I wonder? We're just looking a close eye on Sean here. Obviously, he's had a good start to the season so far. He finished 8th last time out in Australia. He could be looking at P5 today, depending on penalties. And he's really looking on Ollie here to try and grab P4 as well. That is Jay up ahead with a damaged front wing. Sean here could be grabbing a podium. You never know.
It could definitely be a podium. I think Ollie's got a 3-second penalty, so it's technically 4th place for Sean at the moment. And Jay's really struggling with that damage to Ferrari up ahead. So that Williams, from starting way down the field, he's up 7 places from his current starting position. So he started in 12th. There's Jay going wide as Ollie goes to the outside. Sean just needs to take it easy, and he could easily be on the last step of the podium. Jay's struggling, and I'm sure Ollie's got a couple of, at least one penalty from the incident's going on with Clifford, as Sean's managed to get through. Jay really struggling. He's trying to get to the end of the race. Blizzard crosses the line though to win the race. Everyone going on behind him. We've hardly seen him in a race. It's just a perfect race for him. The only thing he didn't do was get the pole position. Poe's going to take 2nd on the road, and I think he's got enough of a gap to avoid these penalties being a problem. Here comes Ollie. Can he hold on to 3rd place? He's got a bit of wing damage of his own. Sean could try and take this final podium position coming down the back straight. Clifford's got ahead of Jay, but Jay will jump back ahead, I'm sure, due to penalties. And the Red Bull looks like it's going to hold on. The line comes up pretty quick. So Ollie holds on to 3rd. No, he doesn't, because Sean does jump ahead. So fantastic race from Sean, coming all the way through the field. Jay takes 4th due to Ollie's penalties. Clifford finishes 6th in the road, but as I say, drops down because the Got's now 6th. Clifford in 7th, Squeezy 8th place. He's nearly on the podium until that incident happened. He won't be too chuffed at that. Letinio Lighty comes through. It's going to be 9th on the road for him, and Lambo is going to take 10th on the road, and he manages to get his 1st point of the season after a really, really difficult race. But it's been a heck of a race, and it's Blizzard who takes the victory.
Absolutely. As Steph here made his move on Alan Kay late on in the race. He's going to grab 12th place. Alan Kay will be last of the runners on the lead lap. But your winner of round 2 and the Bahrain Grand Prix in TTL F1 is Blizzard.
Yeah, fantastic. I'd say the only thing he didn't do to get the Grand Slam was he missed out on the pole position, but he obviously went for the strategy of the soft tyres, managed to put it 2nd place. Fantastic result. That's going to put him at the front of the championship now. 2nd place last time in Melbourne, and now the win here in Bahrain. So he is now leading the championship, and the most decorated driver in TTL is wanting to stamp his authority, I'm sure, on this season. And it's really a shame that that incident happened between Squeezy, Poe and Jay, because obviously they could have been right up there as well, and if that had been the case, Squeezy on the podium, those two would have been quite ahead of everyone else in the championship. But Blizzard the victor. But I'm going to give driver of the race for me has got to be Sean, starting that far back, starting 12th in the grid. Ollie 13's done good as well. I'm going to give it to Sean. Ran really, really long, got the pit strategy to work, and just kept his nose clean. Only 3 seconds worth of penalties to be added on. Jay had none, which is a real shame for him that he got that damaged wing, because he would have been up in the 2nd due to Poe's 5-second penalty, I'm sure. So I'm giving driver of the day to Sean though. Fantastic drive from 12th in the grid.
Well, the full official, unofficial results in Blizzard wins Poe second, Sean third, Jay fourth, Ollie fifth, The Gort in sixth, Clifford seventh, Squeezy eighth, Lighty in ninth, Lambo 10th, Plaster 11th, Stefan 12th, Alan K 13th, Maze 14th, Francis, Damien, Spike and Ollie did not finish the Bahrain Grand Prix. Well, Andy, that was dramatic. Battles throughout the field. A little bit of drama as well towards the end of that race, and I think I have to agree with you, Sean, there. What a drive from him. It's his first podium of the season, finishing 8th last time out. A podium this time will send him well up the order, that is for sure. So he had a great drive in the Williams then.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from him, but it's Blizzard who takes all the spoils. It's a shame that incident happened. I'm sure we'll hear from it, maybe not in Commentator's Corner, because Squeezy's already left the session. Don't normally get Poe in there, Jay's not about either, so we may hear about this next time out as to what happened at the top of the hill in turn 4 between those three that caused damage to Jay and Squeezy. So I'm sure we'll hear about that moving forward, but great victory for Blizzard, and we'll see if we're going to hear from him maybe shortly. Are we still doing Commentator's Corner, my friend?
I think we are, yeah. I don't see why not.
We'll see. We'll see who wants to join.
Well, we can certainly set up Commentator's Corner. If no one wants to talk to us, we'll just talk for, 10, 15 minutes? I'm sure we have a lot to talk about.
I'm pretty good at talking.
Well, oh, absolutely. Well, that was the Bahrain Grand Prix then. Obviously, like last season, Commentator's Corner is in a different stream, different to this one, of course. Hopefully you can join us for that one. A dramatic Bahrain Grand Prix. Obviously we give the drivers time to cool down before we speak to them and invite them to a party, so that's why we have a separate stream for them. If you're leaving us now, thank you for joining myself and Andy for the Bahrain Grand Prix, but hopefully you'll stick around on TTTV, subscribe to the channel, why not, to catch up with all the latest series. We'll be talking more about which series you can watch and when in Commentator's Corner right at the very end, so tune in if you want to know all the details about what you can watch and when. For now though, for the race part of the stream, that's it. We're going to see you all on Commentator's Corner in a couple of minutes. Join us then.